the sweet, sensual moment that changed my whole life. Seated in a cemented single room in one of the suburbs of Kampala, I received a call that they had found a body in one of the forests around a beach in Kampala. After this call, my heart stopped, my body started shaking. Deep down in my heart, I was praying, oh God, let this not be the father of my unborn child. It is a prayer for every mother to have a father to the child. That was my prayer, that this should not be the father of my unborn child. To take you back to where it all began, it was one bright morning. In our room, we had a one-roomed house, and we had just begun life. And Brian had to go work. As usual, a man wakes up and goes to work. He prepared my breakfast. Brian was a very confident, down-to-earth, very loving man. So he prepared my breakfast because I had just become pregnant and it was hard for me to do all those things. I had morning sickness, as every woman knows. So the day before, he had been called that there was a shoot for a music artist at one of the beaches in Kampala. So yeah, it was a great opportunity because we were beginning life together. So he reaches in the Kampala town, the central, and he met these people that were very different from the people that had called him. The first thing he did, he called me and told me, I have reached at the place, but they're not the people that called me. I told him it's fine because it's usually work. In our kind of work, you get to the place and sometimes it's not the people. Maybe they send different people. So he gets in the car when we're still on a call and he says, goodbye, I love you and I'll call you back when I start working. Back in the house, I had to go see the doctor, get a midwife for my journey of pregnancy. So yeah, I went to the hospital and they worked on me, but I wasn't feeling very well, so I went to a friend's place. At around 11 a.m., Brian calls me and tells me, we're on Entebbe Road, one of the roads in Kampala, and we're about to reach. So if I reach there and I start working, I'll call you back. He was just following me up because, you know, he was very loving. He couldn't leave me even for an hour without updating me when he went to work. So yeah, we would chat. We kept on chatting, and then I went to my friend. I had lunch. At 12 p.m., I received a call again from Brian. And I updated him about everything, the doctor, and I told him I was at a friend's place because I wasn't feeling very well. And little did I know that this was the last time I would hear again from my friend. I had my lunch, and you know, as a pregnant woman, I was feeling very sleepy. So I took a nap and I woke up at around 1:30 And I called Brian, and his phone was off. For the 1.5 years that we had dated, there was no single day that his phone was ever off, especially when he's not with me. That had never happened. In my heart, I felt like something wasn't right. But I gave it a thought, a second thought, that no, maybe he's busy, maybe he got busy, because his phone was fully charged when he left home. So at around 2:15, I called him again, and the phone was off. At that particular moment, I started panicking. I don't know why, but I started panicking. I felt like something had happened to him. Even when nothing was looking like something had happened to him, I just felt like something wasn't right. So I started calling a few people, and the mother, his mother. But everybody, you know, was like, come on, Charity. It's only still a day. It's still during day. So maybe he got busy, maybe he started working and forgot about it. But deep down in my heart, I knew who Brian was. I knew he wasn't that kind of a guy. Like, when you're dating someone, you get to know this person and you know what he does and what he doesn't do. So after calling them, and I felt like they were not minding about it, I just said a prayer. And I said, God, please keep my friend. I used to call him so much of a friend because he was that, very loving and friendly, very close. So I slept again and woke up at around 5, and there was no missed call, there was no message, and my fear rose a bit. I used to connect so much with the mother, so I called the mother again. She said, let's pray that he's fine. That's what she told me. And I called my friend, Jen, the owner of the house, and I explained to her. She said, Charity, come on, calm down. Just take a rest. And around 8 p.m., I just knew this wasn't good news. With the high rate of crimes around us, I knew there was something. And it was a month of February and it was election time, it's usually a lot of chaos. So I thought at some point there was something that had happened. I called them in a state of worry. I was worried. And everybody started a bit to get worried also. And we started to look here and there, call relatives, people in Entebbe, whether they had seen him. And everybody had no idea where Brian was. I was so scared. I was very scared. At 21 years, I didn't want to think of a life of having a kid without the father. I was so worried. My friend Jen came back, tried to encourage me a bit, make me so busy, but my heart was still on the same issue. I could literally call his number every after 10 minutes. And it was the same thing. It wasn't available. At around 12 a.m., it sank into our minds, into my mind especially, that he had gone. I don't know why I got it, but I knew he wasn't that kind of a guy that could get in any trouble. He really used to go away from trouble. He wasn't like, he was 25, but he wasn't acting like he was 25. He was acting like he was already 34 and 35, you know. He was too serious for life, so he wasn't into that kind of gangster life, you know. So I knew that he's always either at work or at home or in the studio, because he loved to sing. So I knew something was wrong. I called the mother, and she was very surprised that I had not seen him. She knew that there was something wrong too with her son, because she knew her son too. And at this point of life, I thought, I don't know why, but I thought about how I'm going to be there without the father of my unborn child. I knew that life had changed. And I started looking for solutions. At this moment, I was 3 weeks pregnant. I was 21, still with dreams to carry on, a lot of goals. You know, I had things to do in my 21 years of age, but at this time, I felt like my whole life had changed. I couldn't sleep that night. I don't remember closing my eyes. The only time I closed my eyes, it was around 40 minutes, and I get this dream. Brian in white clothes. He smiled at me and told me, I am far from you and I don't think I'll ever come back to you, but I will always be with you. And I immediately woke up from this dream. I knew Brian had died. I didn't tell anybody because no one was going to believe it, and I could not start, bringing bad news in the first place. And the next morning, after a whole night of no sleep, immediately at around 7 a.m., I was at their home with the mother and the father, and they were all filled with so much sadness. They didn't know what had happened. We didn't have answers. We had so many questions, but we had a few answers. So we started on the search. We called a few people. There was an uncle to Brian. He came and picked us. We started the search. We searched hospitals. We searched prisons. We searched different homes. And we could not have any glance at Brian. First day, second day, third day, we searched him for 7 days. And at this point, we were not praying to see Brian. We were praying that at least we could lay him to rest in peace. Bury him and know that we have him at least around. It was a Saturday morning. We had placed we had gone to different police stations, and we went right to the police station at the place where he told me he had gone. And we went there, we placed a statement, and we placed them, we left them, we told them to search around, if anything, whether they get the body, we don't even care if they get him alive or dead. At this point, we really didn't care. So on Saturday morning, at around 9 a.m., I received a call from the mother. She told me they had found a body around Entebbe Police, a place in Kampala, and they wanted us to go identify the body. Since I was pregnant, it's usually a culture that if you have an early pregnancy, or if you're pregnant, you don't see a lot of things that are a bit shocking. So I wasn't able to go and identify it, but I told them the kind of clothes he was wearing, the kind of shoes he was wearing. Even the mother knew, because before the day he went to the mother to say goodbye, he was so much of a mama's boy, and he was every single day he could visit the mother. So the mother goes, and the father, they went with the uncle to identify the body. On reaching in Entebbe, Brian was lying in there in the office of the police, brutally killed. He was cut around the neck. His head was all smashed. He was brutally killed. And they called me, and they told me it was Brian. They took a picture of his shoes and the clothes, and I told them that was Brian. Now I knew that I was on my own. Life was very different in my mind. I had gone through life because I lost my parents when I was very young, so I had gone through hassles and through everything. I mean, we've raised ourselves with my brothers and one sister, and we've been carried on by a few people, but still we've hustled through life. But this was so heavy for me. This was the hardest situation I had ever seen. At 21, you're a younger mother, and you're being single, and you're being a single mother, and the worst of it, the father was brutally killed. I told them one thing: thank God that we've got the body, at least. So I called my family, I called friends, and I told them Brian was killed. And they could not believe it. Everybody was asking me, Charity, how could Brian be killed like that? What did he do? Did you know of any deal that he had made? And I told them, guys, you know Brian. He was kind, down to earth. He had no trouble with anyone. That's how I can explain it in simple terms. He was a free spirit. He could smile with anybody. With Brian, even if you would annoy him, the next day he would tell you, man, it's a new day. Let's carry on. Everybody that knew Brian knew him like that. And people just wondered how people can be so heartless to kill a soft, innocent soul like that. We moved on to the next step. We got the body, we took it to the hospital. There were very many people that came to the hospital. Immediately, I told them, the friends, the clients, my family, they all gathered, and the friends held me so tight. They were there for me. And when I saw Brian, from that day, I developed so much fear for people because I knew that a person can turn into a wolf. Because I knew these were friends. I mean, the people that called Brian were friends, close friends. And at the end of the day, this is what we got out of it. We carried on with the burial preparations. We took Brian and laid him to rest in his ancestral home. Every part, every step of this whole journey from when he got lost, we found the body and now we've laid it to rest. I was all thinking how I was going to manage life. I knew that I was alone. I don't have my parents, and now even my best friend is gone. People encouraged me. In fact, I want to thank a lot of friends that were there for me. Thank you so much in this whole journey, from the start to the time we laid him. Many people came up to pay the last eye to Brian. You know, after burying this person, you really feel like he's gone. Now you know that he's gone. The next few nights, I used to sleep with Brian. I used to sit with him. I used to eat with him. But there's one statement that he told me 3 times in the same dream. He would tell me, I will always be with you throughout the whole journey. Yeah, and I dreamt the same dream. He told me the same thing for 3 days. And in the last day, he told me, I'm in a better place, Charity. I'll always be beside you, but now you have to make sure that you carry on with life. He gave me his hand, and that was the last time that I had ever dreamt of Brian. In my heart, I woke up with a lot of energy. I don't know where it came from, but I woke up with a lot of energy. I felt like he was always beside me. And I was so proud that I had him in my tummy, in my womb. I knew that I had another Brian, and I carried on to that. My friends started calling me, my friends, my family. Charity, what's the next step? What are you going to do about the pregnancy? And I told them, there's nothing I'm going to do. I'm going to keep my baby. They said, Charity, you're still young. You have nothing. I told them, no, I have Brian. They told me, he's gone. I said, no, he's with me. I had that assurance at some point that he's with me, because he told me that. And they all used to laugh at me. They were like, Charity, you need to get over this and move on with life. You know, when you're not in the situation, you don't usually feel the same way. So they were not feeling what I was feeling, and I wasn't blaming them. My family called me, one of the family members called me and told me, Charity, I got money for you to go and abort. You can't keep a kid you can't keep that child when the father has died. And I was so bold. I told this family member that what you should do, get this money and add this money to the school fees of your child, because I'm going to carry my child. I assured them that I was going to carry my baby. And they told me, how are you going to go through it? I told them, I don't care, but I know I'm going to get through it. You know, there's a there's something that you people should always carry on with life. Once you have that mind in you that says, I'm going to get through this, you always get through it. And once I got that courage, I'm a Christian by religion, so I put my trust in God. I told God, you've taken Brian. I know maybe at some point I had sinned, but that's life. And I told him, here I am, alone. All I have is you. And I gained so much energy after that. I knew that God has me. My family left me a bit. Some of them stayed, of course, but most of them left me. They knew that I didn't have anything that, there was no meaning of me being so confident. So I didn't blame them, because I know they were so caring. That I understand. That I tried to understand it, and I knew they were being caring. So I moved on with life, tried here and there. And my sister stayed alongside me, and she was my anchor. My friend Sharon, she stayed just right there. She told me, Charity, I'm going to go through with you, whether you keep the pregnancy or whether you abort. In my mind, I thought she wanted to tell me to abort, but because she was a friend, she had to go with what I had decided. So I told her, I'm deciding to take up the baby. She's like, yeah, that's fine, if that's your wish. A few people, the friends of Brian was a very good person, like I said. A lot of people encouraged me. People visited me. People would give me what to eat. Every single day I could see new people. I don't know how they used to get me, but at some point they would connect and come, and some of them would bring food, some of them would just come. So throughout the journey, I was 4 months pregnant, I think. 4 months, yeah. And after praying, going through the spiritual warfare and making sure that I was strong in my mind and in my spirit, I moved on. I told myself it was time to get on. It was time to work.